Hello, good evening. My name is Joseph Filmography, and, can I tell you a secret? You sure you won't tell anyone else? So, Minions. What are they? Why are they? And how on earth did we get to where they are today? You know, I remember when I got this little guy, it had to be 2013. There was still only one or two Despicable Me movies, and I still found these dudes enjoyable. Give me a little credit. I was a wee little man, and he's a wee little man, and we kinda matched in that regard. But Minions, over the course of the years, have had an incredible journey, going from just cute little sidekicks in the original Despicable Me, to being basically a visualization of problems with our modern animation industry. I mean, talk about a villain arc, right? But, alas, let's take a moment to sort of rewind so we can recollect on how these guys came into existence. Despicable Me is a movie from 2010. 2010? I thought it was from like 2012. It's from 2010? Wow. Wow. So Despicable Me is a film from 2010 about an evil villain named Gru Felonious. Gru was his last name? Huh. Now, Gru, the main character of the movie, is an evil mastermind who can never get anything right. He has all of the traits of an evil mastermind. He has the obviously dark house, he drives a massive metal car, he dresses straight like Dr. Evil, and he has this army of little minions that follow him around and do his bidding. The minions are also stupid. Despicable Me as a film worked, and its entire premise worked because Gru is, yes, he's a villain, and he's aiming to be the best villain ever, but he's a total failure as a villain. And so the basic premise of the movie is he ends up adopting these three young girls as a part of one of his evil schemes so he can steal the moon, and then he sort of learns what it means to be a father, and then ends up coming out the other end as a pretty good person. Also, the antagonist of the film was Vector, and Vector was really funny. Despicable Me, I think, had a very charming art style. I've heard a lot of people hate on Illumination's art style, but I think it really worked for Despicable Me 1. I mean, I guess it's not anything incredibly unique, but it's like, what are you asking for? What would you even change about Despicable Me's art style? I don't know, I feel like at that point you're just nitpicking about the movie because you don't like the minions. Also, I was looking up, where the idea for the minions came from, and I found this article. Maybe this is something that you've known about for a while. I've never heard about this. Claim: the minions in the film Despicable Me were inspired by photographs of young Nazi poison gas test subjects. Oh, okay. In actuality, the photograph was taken around 1908, well before the advent of the Nazi Party, and the unusual gear depicted was known as the Hall and Rees submarine escape apparatus. Whew, that makes me feel a lot better about making jokes about it, because I was looking at this image and I was just trying to hold back laughter because it really looks like Minions. Okay, so coast is clear. Minions are not inspired by gas test subjects because those people aren't even gas test subjects to begin with. We're good. So, Despicable Me 2 came out in 2013. I think that was still a pretty good movie. I haven't seen it in, jeez, I don't know how long. I have no idea when I last saw Despicable Me 2, but I remember enjoying it. I remember thinking it was funny, it was an enjoyable movie, and I don't know, I feel like it was still probably pretty good. My hair is in my eyes big time right now. Despicable Me 2 kind of expanded on its original idea. Gru is basically now turning from a super villain into like a secret agent, good guy type thing, hunting down this other evil villain, El Macho. and it was a pretty funny movie. I enjoyed it. It kind of expanded on some of the ideas from the first Despicable Me and still had a plot, which was cool. It's always nice when a movie has a plot. I like when animated movies do that. Wait, what's that sound? Oh, it's the Minions movie. Now, Minions is a movie that came out in 2015. And let me address something. The Minions worked so well because the Minions are supplementary, right? They are minions to a supervillain. Minions is a movie about just them. It is no longer a movie about the supervillain, it is a movie about the minions themselves. And if I remember correctly, that movie is them on a quest to find a supervillain who they like, and who they want to stay with. You get to see all of these, times where minions were with these supervillains throughout history, and then somehow they get lost in an ice cave in like the first half of the 1900s. I don't know why that artistic decision was made in that movie. I don't know. And then when the minions emerge, they are now, Jeez, thinking about this movie is killing my brain. When they emerge, they try to serve this villain, and then she's like too bad for them or something, and then they find Gru at the end of the movie and they run off with Gru. When I was a kid, I enjoyed it. Not as much as Despicable Me, mind you, but I was, 11 when this came out, so, I didn't mind it. Wow, I was 11 when that came out. That can't be right. No, it is. That's right, yeah, wow. I enjoyed it at the time, but Minions is where the problem really began. Because the thing is, for one, even at the time, it was no Despicable Me. It was not nearly as funny as Despicable Me, because again, Minions are supplementary to Gru, their supervillain, and Despicable Me was a good movie, not because of the presence of Minions, but because of the story that you follow with Gru. The Minions movie it was Minions. You've already seen the movie, why am I telling you this? This was the point where I think Minions really started becoming a thing that people despise, because you kept seeing them pop up all over social media in the most unfunny memes known to man, and they've continued to reside there. They resided there until, frankly, 2022, which is where we are now. They have resided in the worst memes and the most unfunny of places. Minions are there. The problem with Minions is they spread like a wildfire. I mean, it's an infection. You have a minion that infects one cell, and it turns into a minion cell, and it infects the next one, and that's how it goes. There's these cute and quirky little yellow characters who are super easy to market because you make anything yellow and blue, and now it's Minion. Oh, and they love bananas. Anything is banana, now it's Minion. See this Nintendo Switch? We color correct this Joy-Con, make it yellow, now it's a Minion Switch. I don't know if I want to do all of that editing, but I could if I wanted to. Oh, what's that? There's a pretty serious armed conflict in Ukraine right now. Let's just take the Ukrainian flag. Bam. Minion. I didn't make that. I just found it. It's not my fault that exists. But it is my fault that you know it exists, and you're welcome. And frankly, for years, Minions have just been a source of exhaustion. I think, the first 3 minutes of Despicable Me 3, and I put down the movie. I was on a flight, I think, and I couldn't even finish it. I couldn't even, get started in it, because I started that movie, and I was just like, no. No, I'm not subjecting myself to this. Which leads us to where we are today. Minions 2, The Rise of Gru. That rhymes. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Now, Minions 2 is not a movie I was very excited about, because why would I be excited about Minions 2? It's these little characters that I don't like, and it's a movie that is about them. And we've already had one of those, and it was bad. And now we're getting another, so why would I be interested? And I haven't been on social media much as of late, so I missed a lot of the talk about this movie leading up to it. But something changed. You see, with other Minion-related products post Despicable Me 2, all you would see is people complaining about how much they dislike it. People really aren't a fan of this minion-related thing, and so everyone just clowns on it for being horrible. Which it was. But with Minions 2, we're seeing something different entirely. With Minions 2, we're seeing amazing reviews such as not a disaster, despicably good? Question mark? And also a video titled Despicable Me 2 Out of Context is the most cursed movie ever, and that thumbnail is really funny and I'm probably gonna watch that after I record this. You know, you gotta hand it to the little guys. They've kind of had a turnaround. Minions started out as a side character in Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2. And then they went on this massive villain arc in the Minions movie and Despicable Me 3 and all of the merchandising. But now we're seeing Minions go through their hero arc. For years, Minions have been the very symbol of problems in the animation industry. Minions have been a symbol of corporate greed and manipulation of the masses to shill products. But with Despicable Me 2, Minions are now a symbol of how great animation can be. Minions have risen up from something to be left in the dust and forgotten about to something to be cherished and adored. You know, when I first got this video idea, it was gonna be a video on how much I hate Minions, because for a while, I did. But as I started looking into it, I realized this was gonna turn into something else entirely. This was gonna be a video about how I accept Minions. And you know what? When I see Minions 2, The Rise of Gru, you bet I'm gonna be showing up in my finest clothing. But I'm probably just gonna watch it for free on YouTube.